Capitalism versus socialism. Dive in and ace every chat about these arch enemies of systems. If we do have a look at these societal systems, let's not make the mistake to look for the ideal human being. We take us as we are, driven by fear and hope. If we are workers, leaders, or entrepreneurs, what else? Have this in mind when you watch this video. So, how we approach this question? First, we have a look to the principles. In this case, pure ideas. Capitalism is survival of the fittest, based on some simple rules. Means each person owns what they are able to get, and the market decides what is needed and will be produced. Socialism wants to be fair, based on a bunch of rules. Means the individual owns nothing, altogether owns all, and the government decide what is needed and get produced. Second, what the history tells us. I guess you agree that capitalism exists as long life exists on Earth. Nature is pure capitalism. But does this mean it's the best system? Not necessarily. To see what happened, we have a closer look to the nearer past when capitalism emerged in this modern form we know. In the 17th and 18th century, the English Empire starts to grow, and we can say this was the start of the modern capitalism. Until the beginning of the 20th century, the English Empire and the West dominated nearly the whole world. And finally, with the beginning of the 20th century, an idea became more and more popular and finally reality: socialism. For the rest of the 20th century, the world was divided in two parts: capitalism countries and socialism countries. To the end of the 20th century, nearly all socialism countries collapsed or turned more or less towards to capitalism. More you will see in upcoming videos about Russia, China, Argentina, and Germany. So, if you do like it or not, you can't deny capitalism did win this battle. Third, but now the most important question: why capitalism did knock out socialism? Consumer choice. Who decides what is needed or wanted? A few for all, control market. Each for himself, free market. Who knows better if and when you need toilet paper? The government or you? Adaptability and efficiency. Capitalist markets can quickly adapt to changes. New bans, rules or laws are not needed. Each individual just decide. Technical advancement promotes innovation through profit incentives. This leads to economic growth, self-determination, improving living standards. We could go on with a lot more. Why capitalism is the better decision. But one more, it's very important, especially for the single human being, you and me. Democracy or dictatorship? What does these different needs of a system automatically bring? Less control and more control. So it's not surprising that socialist countries always end up in a single-party country or kind of dictatorships. In socialisms, laws, regulation, and rules are the foundation. In capitalism, they are a necessary evil. Let's start with a small example. There are two possibilities to run a system like this. You provide the birds with only a few rules that are in accordance with their nature. Each bird then makes its own decisions independently and continuously. Move toward the center of those you see around you. Cohesion. Move away, someone gets too close. Separation. Move roughly in the same direction as your neighbors. Alignment. 3 rules only. Or, second, a central entity monitors each individual and their movements, giving corresponding instructions. How many interventions and rules are required? Endless. So what do you think? Which system needs more work, needs more further influence? Simple, which approach works better? Overall, you will agree. Capitalism leads to more freedom. Socialism leads to more control. Fourth, and the winner is well known. So why do we still talk about it? I discovered 3 groups support the idea of socialism or act in accordance with it. Naive supporters, especially in Western universities and among circles of so-called intellectuals, socialism is viewed as a kind of new Eden. Listen to this. Equality and social justice. Access to basic needs. Economic stability. Workers' rights strengthening. Community orientation. Control of monopolies. Sounds great, doesn't it? It's nice in a debate. But have you ever seen even one of these in a socialism state? Not me. On the contrary, not only were none of these promises even slightly fulfilled, but the socialist states also set a record in systematically killing their own people. Yes, their own citizens. Stalin, Hitler, Mao, and Pol Pot are the champions in this terrible competition. We will talk about these countries and these criminals in upcoming videos. So why do these people still fantasize about socialism? I call it the Pippi Langstocking point of view, or if you wish, the Alice's Adventure in Wonderland way of thinking. It's about wishing for things I like, ignoring reality and logic. We can label this group utopists or naive supporters. Supports the real profiteers of more socialisms. But who are these real profiteers of these systems? The government and politicians. Because socialism means more influence, means more power. Isn't it the dream of almost every politician to take all the money that's been made and distribute it fairly? Remember, capitalism leads to more freedom. Socialism leads to more control to groups. But, surprise, surprise, there is another group not really in focus when we talk about socialism. Really huge companies. What the heck? Huge companies are the symbol of capitalism. Huge companies exist in both systems, so they can hardly be considered as a symbol of one system. I argue that small and middle-sized companies are the true symbols of capitalism. So let's take a look at huge companies in capitalism systems and countries. I say they do not act capitalistic, they act more socialistic. Why? The larger a company grows, the more it tends to find ways to make more money without focusing on improving the product. Instead, these companies often work on changing the rules to ensure their products are free from competition. This is because changing the rules is often much cheaper than investing in advertising and development. Really? Yes, lobbying is the magic word. Let's say there is a company with an annual total income of $10 billion. Now let's imagine this company has a small incidental amount of $100,000 in spare funds to decide how to use. They have a few options. Invest in product development, invest in advertising, invest to influence political leaders to regulate in a way that protects their product from new competitors. Which option do you think is more effective? I tell you, with $100,000 you can sway politicians to secure your weak product more efficiently than by improving it or achieving results through advertising. So, if we follow this example, it's natural that as bigger a company becomes, as more they move away from the pure idea of capitalism, make better products people like and need. Means they do not follow the rules of free market, they change the rules. Like a lion would have the power to freeze the news. So we have three very powerful groups supporting socialism even though it failed miserably. Naive supporters, say utopists. Parties and government, say politicians. And last but not least, maybe even most important, huge companies. I call them cancer of capitalism. Where should we look to improve and avoid the bad sides of capitalism? I give you just a few thoughts I have in mind when we talk or think about it. Human beings are like they are. They did develop and they will develop in future, but slowly. Many people are more intelligent than a few. This I will prove in the future on this channel. Laws are troublesome. Laws are necessary. Laws are a necessary trouble. Divide power as possible. Prevent the influence of large corporations on politics. and prevent the influence of politics on large corporations. To the end, according to Winston Churchill, democracy is the worst form of government, except for all the others. I do agree and say capitalism is the worst form of economy, except for all the others. So let's find the less worse. Have noodle water in mind. The water, capitalism, needs a hint of salt, socialism. But it should remain just a hint. If you do agree or not, share this video to start to talk about it. Please comment and help us to improve. Like us. And see you soon.